Okay, this is the this is the Isaac David Brigmond show for Wednesday, September the 7th, 2016. Okay, I just wanted to get with y'all and explain that on today's show it's me talking about things I would like to do that anybody can do. It's not like I'm trying to say that if I do it, it's only for me to do, because you could do it too if you wanted to. But if you hear what I'm saying and like what I'm saying, you could say, "Oh, well, I like what he's saying, and so he's teaching me something that I didn't know about." Well, I was thinking about getting, those flatbed gooseneck trailers. I was thinking about what if you had one big enough to take two of those tiny tin shelters and put them on the trailer, so you've got your platform to put them buildings on. And then when you do that, you rework those buildings to where both buildings work together. So, like, say you got two gooseneck trailers, so the trailers actually work together, as in one might be a kitchen and one might be a living room. And what you do is you may have three or four buildings within two buildings. Like, you separate the inside of one building. One building may be a bathroom and a living room and a bedroom. And then the other one might be a kitchen. Or the other one might be a bathroom and a bedroom, and the other might be a living room and a kitchen. But you have all these rooms within two buildings. So it's like multiple rooms inside of just two buildings, and they're attached to each other. Like, they're so close to each other that you have one door to go through both buildings. Actually, you have like three doors. You'd have one door to go out of one building, one door to go out of another building, but then there'll be that third door that when you open it, you'll go from one room or one building to the other building. So one of them may be just a kitchen and a living room, and then you open a door and go into the other building, and it might be a bedroom and bathroom, you know. So you may have four rooms, but only two buildings. Like, one may be a living room and kitchen, the other one may be a bathroom and bedroom. But they're all like four rooms within two buildings. And there'll be three doors. Like, one door for the exit of one building and entrance of it, the other door for the exit and entrance of the other building, and then that third door would be to go from one to the other without having to go outside. I thought about this, all right? You could do it multiple different ways, but I thought about it, and the thing was, it's easy to go through all this in your head about what you want to do, what you want to do, what you want to do, but it's harder to do it if the project requires money. And I'm not a rich person. I have a budget. I have a budgeted life, and I know that, you know, when a person has a budgeted life, it means that they only earn so much money based on either disability or a job. Now, if they need a budget, it means that they have money, but yet they don't know how to work that money right. So there's two ways of going about that. But where I'm going is, I'm the guy that has a set budget in his life and have to learn to try to make it through that set budget. That money may fluctuate based on buying and all that, but I just thought to get that out there. Now, if someone knew how to help me out with that financially, I would be grateful. And, as a matter of fact, I know the good Lord says if you want something and it's practical, you'll get it. If you want something and it's ridiculous, you won't. But I like doing projects, whether it be physical or mental projects. Mental meaning having a blueprint of what I want to do whether I can do it physically or not. That's a mental project. A physical project is taking your mental project and making it something you can do. And I've always wanted to be that kind of person. And you really don't have to have that trailer if you don't want to. You could do it on land. Just take a piece of land and put your trailers, not trailers, put your little shelters on the land. I meant to say that you're doing this with the two shelters. But, or if you're lucky enough, maybe you could put one on top of the other. But I'd be like, if you had like boards, like maybe some poles, metal poles or wooden poles that wouldn't tear up. And you could put like 1, 2, 3, 4 poles in the ground, 4 poles, thick poles, big poles, and then put like a platform that is attached to the boards, so you could made it look like you had a roof over the shelter. And then when you do that, and what you do is you take that roof that you built over that shelter and put on top of it, because it's a flat one. You put a building on top of it if it'll stand right. I don't know what the maximum weight would be for doing a project like that. I also thought about taking and building a roof over your shelter living, so that when it rains, it wouldn't cause a problem that way. Like, say if you go from the if you go like, if it rained, sometimes them shelters get damaged by either the rain itself, or if not the rain, the debris that falls from trees and things in the rain or in the wind. So what I was thinking was, if you took like them shelters and you made a long flat roof, or a pitched roof, or any shape you wanted roof, over the 2 shelters that were attached together by putting them basically end to end, one end to the other end, then what you're doing, you know how people sometimes will extend a trailer and they'll either put a long end of one building to a long end of another building, or either they'll take and put one short end of a building to the other short end of another building. So it's either one in front of the other or one beside the other. But they connect them with a door where you open one door and go into the other one. Well, I was talking about doing that with this shelter deal, but while doing that, you could also make a long roof that went over both shelters, and then you could use that long roof to cover up the shelters on the top part of them from the weather. And you could use those 2 shelters as a tiny house deal, where you got 2 of them together to make more, room for other things. Like, one would be for maybe bathroom and bedroom, like I said, and the other one might be kitchen and living room. Or you could switch and swap around, but you would have like 4 rooms inside of 2 buildings, and the 2 buildings would be close together, like maybe, end to end or side by side, but up together. Like, one wall would be up against another wall, and there'd be a hole in them both with a door that went from one to the other. Something like that. I thought about all that. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. But like I said, that takes money. And that's something that I've been trying to think of a way I could actually build a tiny house for myself. But the budget seems, every time I come up with an idea, seems downright nerving. are nerve-wracking because you can't think of no other way to do it. I mean, if I lived in a tiny house where I had it actually worked out, detailed, like this is one end. I mean, like detail. I mean, just living in a shelter, that's not going to work. You've got to have details, ideas, plans. Say, okay, this end is this end is this end is this. Stuff like that. If you come up with such, then, and it works, then you got something. If it don't work, then you're stuck with whoa. But anyways, I just thought let you know my plan, and once it comes to reality, if it ever does, then I'll show you. But if it don't, then I'll just tell you that at least I did come up with an idea. But anyways, I just thought that might work, but if not, that's okay. But I also thought about what if somebody had an old storage building that they didn't want no more, and you could use it as a tiny house. But problem is, they'd probably want an outrageous amount of money for it, and I don't think there's no one out there having a storage building. And I'm talking about the kind that you rent storage buildings. Like the kind that have like a garage door on them that the roll up type. I thought about that, but then it dawned on me. I said, if I had such as that, I would do what I needed to do with it if it had amenities to it. Only problem I have with this is that I don't think no one would let you just live in something like that. And if they did, they'd want so much for it till you couldn't afford it. So there goes that idea. But it's a good idea to try. But I'll talk to y'all later and have a nice day. God bless.